Guys, welcome. Hey, this is Sue Fellows, and I'm here with Britta Dubbels. And yeah, you can see the little happy dance that's going because it is really, really stormy where I'm at. And I guess it's kind of going straight up the East Coast, so Britta's getting some of it too. But we're just going to put it that it's weather that's playing with technology today. It's really kind of gray and gloomy out, even though it looks like there's light coming in the window. There really isn't. So we're just kind of going with the flow here today. And we're so glad that you're able to join us, as we have got some real fun topics that we're going to be covering today. As we had talked about at the end of last week's show, we are going to be getting into labels and how we identify with the labels that we put on not only ourselves but others, and how that this really has such an effect on all of us. So that's part of what we're getting into. We've gotten some great questions in over the last week, so we're going to talk about those and touch base on that. And, you know, if you're here with us and listening over the webcast on our website page, there is a question and answer box right next to the video cast. So feel free to type on in there, and we'll be looking at those and kind of taking those as we go along. So, Britta, I know you wanted to say hi to everyone today, too.
Hello. Hi, Sue. And hello, everybody. It's almost Thanksgiving. It's tomorrow, and I've already been getting so many gratitude wishes that right now I kind of feel inspired to say thank you. Thank you, Sue, and thank you everybody who is here with us today and who's joining us. And I have to say, I really, really, really love doing this show, and I love doing it with you, Sue. And so, thank you, and hello, everybody.
I keep waiting for to hear everyone going, yes, thank you, Jim, I love you watching. And then, you know, it's like you got to kind of stop and realize, oh, yeah, it's not that interactive, even though we wish that it could be. Oh, so do you want to jump on in today, or how? We didn't want to talk about this, so.
Yes, absolutely. Let me get right into it. So yeah, so what we identify with. And you know, me coming from a spiritual perspective, and you know, really it being the purpose and the intention of these segments to help everybody to bridge the experience between human and real essence self. You know, let me back up all the way into you being this extension of source, and you truly, in your essence, you are this incredibly brilliant, infinite love and light being, wise, all-knowing, powerful. You know, this really is who you are, in your truth, in your soul. And in the end, that is what I would love for you to play with and aim to identify with more, because it's so easy to you know, get sucked into the whole human drama and the whole human illusion of it all, which seems and feels so real. And so oftentimes we forget who we really are. And I think more importantly, in moments when you're not feeling great, and in moments when you're feeling hopeless or fearful or overwhelmed, it is even more important for you to actually take that step and to say, wow, Okay, Britta suggested I should remind myself of who I really am. You are this beautiful infinite being having this very temporary human experience. It's just a dream. It's over in the blink of an eye. And so I encourage you to remind yourself of that and play with that as often as you possibly can, because it'll help you play in the human experience and learn to appreciate all experiences without judgment.
That I absolutely love that, Britta. And it's funny that you bring this up because it was a conversation that came up not too long ago, like the last couple of days, how temporary everything is here for us. And how we do things, mostly kind of on autopilot, that really hinder our experience. And, one of them, especially, with Thanksgiving coming up, which is the segue to, Christmas and New Year's. And, those are traditional holidays here that you spend with family and you spend with friends. And it's all you hear is promoting being with your loved ones. And, there are some people that don't have that opportunity, for whatever the reasons, and those are all fine and great. But it's such a time that you start feeling like not only yourself, but everybody around you is judging you on the quality or quantity, especially, of loved ones and friends and what your plans are and what you may not be doing. And, that whole list goes on and on and on. But it's so important to take that time to realize that, maybe you are physically going to be separate from your friends or family, or maybe you don't have friends or family, and that those are all okay things, and that it's not a time when you really need to start wallowing in what everyone else is thinking and feeling. Because really all that matters is that you're good and you're okay in yourself. And you've got your team around you, and you've got your angels and whatever else it is that you believe in. So you're never truly alone. It really goes back to the stories that you tell yourself and what you let others come in and influence you, how you're going to get through this. And that's can be really, really tough, and it's as tough as it can be. You can make it so much easier on yourself in playing, in being a part of this human experience down here, is a part of it without going into the, oh, woe is me, and letting everyone else influence how you're going to think and feel. And this, I think that that's a great way, and also kind of gets into what we wanted to talk about today with labeling ourselves and labeling others and believing what it is and identifying with part of that. And there's some really great examples, and we're going to get into this on a lot of different levels, because as with many things, there's not just one perspective and one way to get through it. So we're just going to dump a whole lot of tools on you, and you take and pick what feels great for you and what you can use in your life. Oh, and it looks like Britta's got something to add here, so let's get her.
Well, the first identification that we have, or most of us have, is family, right? Because as we are born into these human lives, we are born into a family. And so, whether you identify as a part of your family in a positive way, or whether you identify with being a part of your family in a negative way, right? Both are possible. We can have positive identifications and we can have negative identifications. And so here I want to take you right back out again into the perspective of spirit, that yes, these are your members that you have chosen to be and play family with in this lifetime. But your family, your true family, is every being, is everything, you know. So you know, these family members that you have right now in your life, they are there for a reason. And these identifications are deeply, deeply, deeply embedded into the core of your conditioning, of your programming. So, you know, the holidays are a very sensitive time for these deep, 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 deep programmings to get stirred up. And so, you know, I really want to invite you to breathe into that and feel into that, and kind of like ask yourself, okay, so this person is like this, can't change somebody, and this person is this way, and it's not my job to change this person either, and here is yet another person, and that person is like that. And so to kind of like pull yourself a little bit back and let everybody be who they are. Because you're not going to change anybody. But you also don't need to react and stay in the old identification of those dynamics either. I'm going to hand it back to Sue. I can feel it. I can feel it.
I absolutely love what you were saying, because you know, that's something that almost everyone comes up with, that, you know, oh my gosh, it's time to go to grandmother's house, and this one pinches the cheek, and this one smells like cheese, and this one makes the rotten jokes, and, you know, this one is a prejudiced so-and-so, and you're not going to change any of these people. And really, when you're walking into a situation, and the holiday is just a wonderful time to practice if you have all these fun dynamics going on around you, where you get to practice going in, trusting that each and every one of these people you deal with is going to be exactly who they are. And that's a super important distinction that you can apply to any area, any person in your life, that you trust them to be who they are, not who you expect or want or wish that they were. And, you know, that goes beautifully hand in hand with what Britta said, is, you know, you're not changing these people. And it's your choice how you're going to react, which chooses how you're going to feel the rest of the day. And, you know, I love little types of experiments. So, you know, challenge yourself to go over for the next week with each person that you're interacting with on whatever level, and walk into them with a clean slate. Try to get rid of all of your preconceptions and anything that you think may or may not happen, and just go in like you've just met these people. Even though you love them, you care about them, you hate them, just try to clear that away and walk in and use your light that you feel in your energy, and see how it mingles with these other people when you're not saying, that's the witch, that's the joke, or, oh, this guy I hate, this guy I love. And do it for a week, and let us know what happens in the course of your week and how the interactions you bring about are so very different. Oh. All right, Britta's got something to say?
Well, I love what you just said, and yes, definitely, do that. Try that on for yourself, because it's all about you, right? This is for you, about you, because you are here in your body on your journey. And even though you're interacting with all these different players in your life, it's never about the other players. This is all about you. And so, you know, this is so important to hear again and again and again. So whenever something is triggering you or bothering you or irking you, it's practice for you to breathe deeper, to let it flow through you, to not judge, to not react, to breathe and remind yourself, okay, yes, I am this infinite, beautiful, grand being, and that's my true identity. And so as this being, you can now play with, how would I as this being respond? And how would I as this being act? And how would I as this being speak? And what would I do or not do, right? So allow yourself to have fun with it. Play with it. Make believe, you know? Because the more you do that, the more it will integrate into your conditioning, into your biology, into your mind, your wiring. So yeah, allow yourself to play with it and have fun with it. Because that's really what spirituality is to me, you know. It's not only incredibly empowering, but it's fun. Because when you do choose the higher perspective, when you do choose to remind yourself of who you really are, that heaviness falls away and all of a sudden you're like, all right, this is fun. You know, and even if you're feeling edgy and even if you're feeling like, you know, yeah, you know what I mean? In the end, you are in your process of aligning yourself more and more and more. Sue, what you got?
Your energy today is like off the wall, contagious. You are just this ball of fire today, and it is so fun. A part of that and watching, you know, it's contagious. And you know, I'm chuckling as I'm hearing this coming out of you, and my thought is, oh my gosh, how wonderful are the people that are watching this feeling just from, you know, taking that in and, you know, receiving what you're emitting, because it's absolutely beautiful. And, you know, I know part of it is, you know, the empowerment is so prevalent and so big in you today. And I want to thank you and acknowledge that. And it's just, I'm just over here chuckling because it's a fun, fun energy. And it's really a great example of exactly what you were just saying, is that there is empowerment, there is freedom, and you're breaking away from the preconception and really going into yourself and the true you and having fun with it. And, you know, the part that you were also just said about, you know, there's a lesson. When you're triggered, there's a lesson there for you. There's something to learn. And that, just so that people are really clear with that, it's not just that somebody made you mad, because that's a really big one. And, you know, it's really easy to pick that out. And, you know, after you kind of calm down for a few minutes, because I'm a real big one on, you know what, if you're angry, feel it for a few minutes. You don't have to stew and brew for days and weeks and months. But, you know, just to let that all go through you for a little bit, acknowledge the situations, I think that that's a wonderful thing. And then when it's come down a little, you're like, okay, now, what really is going on? Where did this hit me? And, you know, that's an easy one to trigger and find your trigger. But other emotions also bring that up. And, you know, things can happen that bother you. for a while, and you're really looking at it that it's about someone else or about a situation, and it's really not. There's still going to be a piece of you that's a part of that, and getting away from that is a part of that wonderful, fun, empowering feeling. So, so thank you, Britta, for being who you are today and letting us all play in this energy with you.
It is my pleasure. It's my privilege. And, also, every time you remind yourself of who you really are, you are stepping back far enough in order to create space for a new identification with any area of your life. And so here I would love to transition from family to illness.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of challenge popping up for people with illness, and so and I've also been having a few clients that I've been working with that have learned to shift themselves away from the identification of I have this, I am a survivor, and so to really understand that your energy, and so whatever you are claiming for yourself and identifying with beyond the experience, is you dragging that energy with you into the next moment, into the next moment, into the next day, into the next day, you know what I mean? And so because your energy and that energy, just manifests itself again as that energy. So, I really, really, really urge you to, no matter how challenging it may seem to you on the mental level, or how far out or illogical it may seem to you, try it anyways. Try it anyways. And so push, again, bring yourself back. Who you really are is infinite love and light, beautiful brilliance and strength. And so you, as this being, you are in this physical body and you are having an experience with an illness. Today, in this moment. And so you are now being called to deal with this experience and to let it take you into the greatest amounts of strength, into the greatest amounts of courage, into the greatest amounts of shifting yourself into more self-care and into more self-acknowledgement and love, and clearing out what doesn't work and hasn't been working, and setting the boundaries that you deserve so you can shift yourself into what it was meant to shift you into and out of that experience.
Absolutely. And there's a really appropriate way to do that. And I know that that's kind of a judgment, but I guess what I just really want to make clear is that, if you are having an illness, or you are identifying with, some other type of negative connotation, and you're taking that identity on as who you are, that shifting does not mean that you're not, seeking appropriate medical intervention. You're still doing all of the things that you need to do on absolutely all the different levels now. And that's a really important thing. It's, to use an illness, I was working with a girl who had cancer. And one of the first things that she said to me after the diagnosis was she was now a cancer patient. She was no longer a daughter, a mother, a wife, or a friend, but straight out, that's all she was. And for the first few months of this, every single thing in her life revolved around doctor's appointments and treatments. And, I'm sure we can all, you guys all know somebody or have had it yourself that, if it wasn't, cancer as an illness, you're depressed, you're anxious, you're an ex-alcoholic, you're an ex-workaholic, all of these things that society loves to put labels on us, and you change a bit of who you are to accommodate that. And for the pieces that you move away from, this is just an inner switch. It's not, oh, I'm done with chemo because in my head I'm not this anymore. Those things don't fall away. You just look at everything differently, and you allow other pieces in, which in turn can help get you away from some of these things.
Yes, 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 yes. So glad you added that in there, Sue, because yes, 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 yes. Of course, you need to continue to be responsible for taking the choices that are right for you. And, so there's another thing that just comes in, and I want to just bring this up quickly. If you have or know somebody in your life that is dealing with an illness or a disease, or, it takes over their life. It takes over their world. And so also what is very important to acknowledge is that, oftentimes these people, even though they have gone through the process of the treatments and then they're being declared good for now or safe for now, it's really important for you to support them in the letting go and shifting their identification with it, or show them this video, or you know what I mean, because the fear and the identification with it is so deeply in them that every little thing that they may feel in their body, oh no, it's back, oh no, it's back, oh no, it's back, right? And of course, I have so much compassion for that, and it's so real for these people in those moments, that this is not about not having compassion for it. This is about helping them shift out of the experience, because we have experiences as we travel through life, and some of them are great and some of them we really would rather do without. But truly, from a spiritual perspective, every experience that we are experiencing is for our strengthening, clearing, growth, whatever it may be for the personal, individual experience.
Absolutely. And you know what just came to me as you were talking about this is a lot of times when you have been labeled because of whatever is going on with you, there's also two other things that kind of come up is that you must fight against, especially if it's an illness or, to get away from a situation. So it just keeps you in this, oh my God, now I must be marching forward and I have to become a warrior. And, it just really takes you out of the balance that you need to bring into yourself. And even when we're talking about empowering ourselves, it's not about arming to do battle against whatever this is. And I think that that's another really big piece to all of this, is that you have to stop fighting and, to become the survivor of. that's really, from a spiritual standpoint, that's not going to be your goal, because that's just another persona, and that's just more armor, and that's still keeping away the surrender in yourself of being exactly who you are and having the fun and playing in all these different energies. You're still going to get to the same end goal. You're just not going to be as tired when you give in and just, again, the word surrender, because that's where a lot of our own inner peace emanates from, even though it really doesn't sound up front like it is. It sounds like you're just giving up. And, all the rest of the things, white flagging it, and, whatever. And that's actually the opposite. And that's another one of those that, you can kind of fake it till you make it, that you can just put that fight away for a little while and go inside and do the breathing and really get to that inner place. And when I say fake it till you make it, if you can't find that happy, wonderful feeling that we're telling you about right now, it's okay, because you can just pretend to find it. And like Britta said it, a little bit ago, the more you can pretend, the more real it's going to be, and the more it's going to become a part of who you are. So one more piece: stop the fights.
Yes, yes, yes. What a great piece, Sue. What a great piece. It's true. It's true, because ultimately only love heals. And this is oftentimes very misunderstood. It doesn't mean you need to love your experience. Not at all. No. But at a minimum, you need to accept your experience. And so from the place of acceptance, you do what you must. And if you can shift it from fighting into acceptance, the strength you need will build inside of yourself. Because oftentimes, what we're experiencing right now on our planet is the need for our inner strengthening. We all need to level up. There really is this requirement, and when everything is good and rosy, people don't level up. It's only going to be the challenges that will get people to strengthen. And so, the in the mind, the fighting, that's not going to strengthen you. That's going to weaken you. So, also, keep in mind, at a minimum, you don't have to love it, but you want to accept it.
Yes.
And then, so from that place of acceptance, you can, okay, I'm going to do what I need to do here. And as you're doing what you feel is best for you, operating out of a place of acceptance, you will strengthen. It's inevitable.
Absolutely. Very, very great points there. And okay, technology is just being wonky here today, guys, so gotta kind of bear with the little blips that we're having and the strange looks that are going at the computer screen as things are just not doing what they're supposed to do here today. It's okay, side note, but it's been fun and it's been interesting with it.
I think it's also the weather, because the weather is getting pretty bad. But there's another thing that immediately drops in that I want to share quickly.
Oh,
when we come into these bodies and we grow from being a baby to being a toddler to being a young child, and then we grow into being an older child, and then we grow into being a teenager. The identifications are naturally, you know, leaving us because we are changing so much, and so it's almost like, you know, we're being shown the natural process of letting go of the old identification and then shifting into the new identification, right? And so oftentimes, you know, even as we grow up, and I see it with my daughter, you know, sometimes she has her moments and sometimes she has her days where she doesn't want to shift out of the baby identification, for example. You know, and she wants mommy and she wants to be a little girl, you know, and she wants to not grow up. And so I think that shows us a lot in regard to life, and as we're walking through life, you know, to really understand that it's all a building block. Every experience and every chapter of your life is a building block. And, you know, you learn from it, you take your nuggets of wisdom and growth with you, and then you have another block that goes on top. And you know, and I think to let go of the identifications with the blocks down below, right, really sometimes requires and deserves the acknowledgement of the feelings that come with letting go of something, right? Because it sometimes can be sad or vulnerable or fragile to let go of something that we really loved and, you know, we really loved identifying with. And I can feel you, so you got something there.
Well, you know, one of the things that I hear a lot when I'm working with this is that they don't know who they are underneath the labels that have been given to them or that they've given themselves. That, you know, there's such a strong identity. You know, as you just, you know, you mentioned with your daughter, but, you know, as being a mom, being a worker, being, you know, a husband, a wife, a provider, the caretakers, people become those identities so much that they don't know who the true person is. And trying to break away from that almost leaves a disoriented feeling, because when you peel away all the unauthentic layers and you find out who you really are, it's a huge discovery process. And it can be one that really creates a lot of disharmony and, you know, throws your equilibrium way off because, you know, it's foreign to you. And, you know, when the voices are gone and, you know, the long lists are there and you're just left with a quiet, calm peacefulness, that's not your normal. So, you know, as wonderful and great as all of this is, there can be a little bit of a time frame where it's uncomfortable for you. And that discomfort, I love to look at it that that's your doorway. You either choose to walk through that doorway of discomfort to get to these wonderful rewards on the other side, or you let all of your fears, all of your doubts, keep that door sealed shut, and you go back to what has been making you less than ideal, less than happy. And, you know, it's a great way that you get to choose and you get to experience the empowerment of choosing for yourself. And for a lot of people, it could be the very first time that they choose that. And once you do, you're never going to go back, but you've got to have the courage to take those first few steps. Britta?
Yes, 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 absolutely. Such a great point. And, you know, when we are more aware of that this is constantly happening, right? It's constantly happening in everybody's life, you know. Yeah, you may have an identification with something for a while, but change is inevitable. And so to really be more aware of that, you to take on the transition and to allow yourself, you can even integrate a ritual for yourself where you're, make a fire and just, release the old you and embrace the new you and embrace the unknown of who you're going to blossom into, because this is why you are here. And to keep releasing and shedding those old skins creates the space for your expansion, for more of that brilliance of who you really are to be able to come in and fill the space. So to stay mindful of the process of change and what you are really identifying with is so important. And again, communicate with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I identifying with? Am I still identifying from these old things in my past? Am I still holding on? Okay, well maybe it's time for me to let go of those identifications so I can create the space to be everything that I really want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Great point on that. And, that also kind of goes back to pretend who you want to be. If you don't know and you're not sure, make something up for a little while. Try different things on. You're never going to know if you don't try. My God, how many of us ever heard that when we were growing up from our parents? But, it's really pretty appropriate right here, too, that you're not going to move forward if you don't. So it's another kind of simple, easy way to look at it, maybe a little bit different way than you have been. And, remember, kind of go back to when you were a little kid. And, if you're going to pretend, you might as well take the whole 5-year-old persona. And, try on tiaras and crowns and capes and big high heels or great big huge galoshes. And, just put something different with everything and just have fun as you're trying to figure out where you're going and where you're headed and who you want to be when you grow up or when you get to, who you really are.
Yes, I love that. And as just a little side note to that, if you think of it in terms of what do you want to identify with? Right, that's also a wonderful question to resonate with for yourself. What do you want to identify with? And again, who are you in that space? And how do you speak? And how do you act? And how do you choose? And right? So give yourself this play time with yourself. It's just so valuable, and it promotes such wonderful clearing and such wonderful growth, and this time with yourself. I almost feel like that should be a whole segment at some point, because people really don't understand how important it is to have private time with self, and a lot of it.
Spoken like a true mom of a child that lives in your home. Oh, okay, I was going to say, my screen just went black. Okay, not sure what's going on.
I see you.
Yeah, it finally just popped up, so I don't know. That is such a great point. And that was, a goal for a lot of people, that become comfortable within yourself. And, some of what we're saying today are really fabulous ways to get comfortable with who you are and being alone. Because, that's the thing that a lot of people fear. And I know we touched a little, with how it comes up on the holidays, but even when you're not in this, how many times have you had the opportunity to spend even an afternoon just by yourself? And how did that make you feel? And especially if you don't live on a day-to-day basis with being alone, or you're always around other people. Ask yourself that, and if the answer is not wonderful, come back and re-listen to this, and take some of the steps and put some of the tools into practice that we've been talking about, so that you can start to become more comfortable with yourself, and then you start really enjoying that time and enjoying who you are, just for the simple fact that you're a really pretty cool, infinite being. And, one way that you kind of, if you need signals, when you stop being bored when you're alone, that's a great indicator that this is starting to work and you're starting to clue in with who you are, and you don't need a ton of external stimulus to tell you what you should be doing or how, or any of those wonderful things. So just think about that one and see where you can put a few minutes into your life every day or once a week or whatever it is you can handle at first. There's no hard and fast rules, and that's really one of the fabulous things. As long as you are doing this for yourself, there's no timelines, there's no rules. The end goal is you. And that's the big enough prize for every one of us. I see you over there. I know you got something to add.
Yes, absolutely. So again, coming a little bit further back into the spiritual perspective of who you really are. And so, in your essence, in who you really are, you are one with all that is, and we come from this oneness, from this knowing and experience of oneness. And so, when we're in these physical bodies, most people have an issue with being alone or feeling lonely, or all, depending on I only have me, right? So, this is deep within our soul. It's a little bit of the yearning, for our truth of the oneness. And that is something that is, it's there and it lingers, but the key to being in a single identity body experience, really, is there for you to enjoy and embrace having this experience as you, and learn to love it, and learn to appreciate it, and learn to not need all those fillers, but really learn to get to know, speak with, resonate, breathe into yourself. That is the greatest gift you can give to yourself from a spiritual perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, and if you're one of those people that really strongly still identifies with doing things for other people, this is the best gift you can give to the people around you also, because you're going to just start to change. There's going to be different energetics that you're going to vibrate on a different level, and people resonate with that, and they recognize it. And it also helps promote them to come up to a different frequency and to be able, it opens the doors for people around you to do this for themselves also. So, it's, if you can't just do it for yourself at first, do it for everybody around you, and it's osmosis that it just will help everyone. And, take it further, because we are all one, it helps the whole planet, it helps everybody when you do this for yourself.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I always have to wait for you to be really done because I still see your lips moving, but I don't really hear the voice anymore. So I'm like, okay, just wait. I wanted to address a couple of the questions that came in. So somebody was asking in regard to mental illness. Mental illness is, certainly out of my scope. And, and there are, of course, so many different levels and so many different layers and so many different reasons from a very physical perspective, but also from a very spiritual perspective.
Yes.
But there is somebody that I do want to suggest, and his name is Dr. Amen, like Amen, A-M-E-N, Amen, and he has been doing incredible work in regard to healing the brain, and so that may be an avenue for you to check into and to explore. If you feel that it is something that you want to address spiritually, feel free to email Sue and I, and then we will figure something out in a more one-on-one kind of a setting.
Absolutely. That I think that's great. I love that you gave a name for people to go to, because it's one of the limitations that we have in this kind of a time frame, and it's not just for such a broad subject that has so many different facets and so many different layers. And especially because the question was about a mental illness and it was just left at that. There are times when it's very appropriate and we are able to respond and give you tools and things from several different perspectives here in this particular hour, and that's wonderful, and that's part of what we're here for, and we love doing that. There are some topics that are so multi-layered and have so many different things, and the mental illness is one of those types of things. Or bringing in, a specific illness that, looking at how do we heal this, or, and I could go on with that, but those are times when, in this type of forum, in an hour where, we've got topics and we're answering questions, these are things that you need to work with somebody one-on-one with. It's not that, we can't answer in 5 minutes how to get through all the different layers that are necessary to get to the bottom of these things. So, it's not that we don't want to and we would love to, but these talks are not for that type of multi-layer, and I really encourage you to work and find someone to work with that does have experience and is knowledgeable and reputable, that can help you and can assist you to get through these really deeper subjects. So I just it was a great opening to put it out. Both Britta and I do work with people. If if it's something you're going through, there's an avenue for you. There are a lot of people. If it's something clinical that needs Western medicine attention, in addition to the spiritual, then we will always encourage you to look, for that, or for people, like Dr. Amen, who is, blends And, you need to find appropriate care for yourselves. Britta?
Yes, yes, yes. And, in the other almost huge wave of subject that came in was in and around anxiety and fears.
Yeah.
And so Sue and I, as we went over the questions, decided that next week we're going to do fear, right? We're going to deal with fears and look at fears and put them on the table and
Absolutely.
good look at those little fears, or big fears, because I'm looking forward to that, right? Because I have some wonderful, great exercises that I can't wait to share with you in regard to fears, because ultimately they need you. They need you for their survival.
Yes, we do.
Without you, they will not survive.
Truly. And that fears goes along with a lot of anxiety type of issues. So we're going to get into that, maybe a little bit onto the panic, because I know a couple of people, wrote in about some types of panic disorders and panic situations that they were having, and a little bit of OCD. So fears, a little bit of anxiety coming in, one of my favorite subjects to get into and help people get away from. So yeah, next week is going to be a fun week, and we're just going to really break through a lot of crud for you guys. So make sure to join us then. I'm looking and seeing that, holy cow, an hour has gone by, so it's time for us to let you guys go for this week, but thank you, everybody who has been writing in questions. Love them, appreciate them, and encourage you to please keep doing that. Several people wrote in and wished us both a happy Thanksgiving. So, Britta, we've got a lot of people saying happy Thanksgiving, so have a wonderful holiday to all of you. And I'm going to sign off and let Britta say goodbye, but we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. This is just a wonderful, wonderful platform and opportunity, and have an amazing time. Happy Thanksgiving, and blessings and love and light to every single being on this planet, and love all around. Thank you. Bye, Sue.
Bye, Britta.
Bye, see you
Bye,
next
guys.
week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.